Yo, did you know that a seed can't grow in just any old dirt? It needs fertile soil, sun, and water. Same goes for your seed, fellas. You can't just be planting it anywhere. Now, let's get this straight. We're not talking about those little brown things you find in an apple. Nah, we're talking about your legacy, your progeny, your seed. And just like a gardener wouldn't toss his seeds on a parking lot and expect a garden, you shouldn't be spreading your seed without some thought. Think about it. Would you plant a seed in soil that's too rocky, too dry, too full of weeds? Now you'd look for that good, rich, fertile soil, right? You'd want a spot that's got the right conditions to let your seed sprout and flourish. So why would you treat your own seed any different? This ain't a game, fellas. It's about more than just having a good time. It's about making choices that are going to shape your future and the future of your seed. You want to be sure that the soil you're planting in is ready to nurture and support that growth. And let's be real here. Not every beautiful flower you see is going to be the right spot for your seed. Some flowers might look nice, but they ain't got what it takes to help your seed grow. They might be too focused on their own growth, or they might not be ready to put in the work that comes with nurturing a seed. And that's okay. Not every flower is meant to be a garden. So as you're out there looking at all the pretty flowers, remember to think about more than just the bloom. Think about the potential, the future, the growth, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So before you go spreading your wild oats all willy-nilly, think about the soil. Is it fertile? Is it ready? Let's talk about that fertile soil. Not every ground is ready for planting, you know what I'm saying? Now, when we say fertile soil, we're not just talking about a woman's ability to bear children. Nah, it's deeper than that. We're talking about a woman who's got the right qualities, values, and compatibility to nurture your seed. And by seed, I mean your potential, your dreams, your legacy. Think of it like this. In the realm of farming, the best soil isn't just about being able to sprout seeds. It's about being rich with nutrients, having the right pH levels, and being able to retain the right amount of moisture. Similarly, the fertile soil we're talking about here is a woman who enriches your life, balances you out, and holds you down when times get tough. She's the kind of woman who challenges you to be a better man. Not just for her, but for yourself. She's got your back, pushes you forward, and never lets you forget your worth. She's got that nurturing spirit that makes you want to grow, to strive, to thrive. But let's be real, fellas, we're not just talking about a woman who's good for you. We're talking about a woman who's good for herself, too. A woman who knows her worth, who's got her own dreams, her own hustle. She's not just fertile soil for your seeds. She's a gardener in her own right, tending to her own growth and blooming in her own time. And let's not forget about compatibility. You've got to vibe with her, connect with her on a deeper level. She's got to get you. Understand your quirks, your passions, your struggles. She's got to be your peace, your sanctuary, your home. Remember, fellas, good soil is about more than just the physical. It's about the mind, the heart, and the soul, too. It's about finding a woman who not only carries your seed, but nurtures it, cherishes it, and helps it grow into something beautiful. That's what we mean by fertile soil. That's what to look for in a woman before you plant your seed. But wait, what about the weeds and pests? You can't have a good garden without dealing with those. Now, we're getting to the nitty-gritty. When you're about to sow your seed, you gotta watch out for those pesky weeds and pests. They're the tricky situations and the troublesome characters that can mess up your garden of love. Think of it this way. You're all set, got your seed in hand, ready to plant it in the most fertile soil. But then you spot a weed. Weeds, my friends, are the red flags. They're the signs that something ain't quite right. Maybe she's always on her phone when you're together, or she's got a temper hotter than a jalapeno. Perhaps she doesn't respect your time, or she's got a history of hopping from one garden to another. These are the weeds you gotta watch out for. Then there are the pests. Pests are those external influences that can wreak havoc on your garden. They could be anything from meddlesome friends to a demanding job, or even a past relationship that just won't quit. These pests can nibble away at your relationship until there's nothing left but a barren patch of dirt. Now, I ain't saying you gotta run at the first sign of a weed or a pest, but you gotta be aware of them, understand what they are, and decide if they're something you can handle. Maybe that weed is just a misunderstanding that can be cleared up with a good conversation. Maybe that pest is a temporary situation that will pass with time. Or maybe, just maybe, that weed or pest is a deal breaker. A sign that this soil ain't the right place for your seed. So here's the deal. Don't let your eagerness to plant your seed blind you to the reality of the situation. Take a good look around. Make sure you're not stepping into a garden overrun with weeds and pests. Because let's face it, nobody wants to waste their precious seed on a garden that's going to wither and die. So before you plant that seed, make sure there ain't no pests lurking around. All right, so you found your soil, checked for pests, and you're ready to plant. But wait, there's more to it than just dropping the seed and walking away. Now let's get this straight. Once you've decided to plant your seed, it's not just about kicking back and watching the show. Nah, my man, it's about getting your hands dirty. You see, relationships are like gardens. They need constant care, attention, and, let's not forget, a whole lot of love. Picture this. You've got yourself a nice little plot of land, right? You've sown your seed, and now it's just you, the sunrise, and that cool morning breeze. But then you turn your back for just 1 second, and bam! Weeds everywhere, pests munching away, and your once promising seedling is now a sad little sprout. That's what happens when you don't tend your garden. But let's flip the script. Image you're out there every day. Rain or shine, you're pulling weeds, chasing off pests, and you're feeding that soil with all the good stuff. Good conversation, shared experiences, trust, respect, and of course, love. Before you know it, that little seedling is growing, blossoming, and standing tall. That's the power of tending, my friend. So, what's the takeaway here? Well, it's simple. If you want your seed to grow into a mighty tree, you gotta be ready to put in the work. You gotta water it, nurture it, protect it, and give it all the light it needs. You gotta be there day in and day out, through the good times and the bad. And let me tell you, it's not always going to be easy. There will be storms, there will be droughts. But if you stand firm, if you keep tending, if you keep nurturing, you'll weather those storms and your seed will grow. It'll grow into something beautiful, something strong, something that stands the test of time. Remember, a seed well planted and well tended can grow into a mighty tree. But neglect it and it'll wither and die. So there you have it, fellas, a guide to planting your seed. Remember, it ain't just about the planting, it's about the care and tending too. Now, we've been through the garden and back, and I hope you've been taking notes. We started with the art of seed planting. That's where we learned about the importance of knowing when and where to plant. Timing and location, fellas, timing and location. Then we moved on to the fertile soil, and no, we ain't talking about your grandma's garden patch. We're talking about finding a woman who's going to be a nurturing, supportive environment for your seed. One who's got the right pH balance, if you catch my drift. Next up, we tackled those weeds and pests. Those are the folks and situations that can cause trouble for your seed. You got to be on the lookout for them and be ready to pull them out or spray them down when they show up. Ain't nobody got time for pests in their garden. And finally, we talked about the care and tending. That's the day-to-day work of making sure your seed is growing strong and healthy. It's about more than just watering and fertilizing. It's about being there, being attentive, and being ready to step in when things get tough. So yeah, planting your seed ain't just a one-and-done deal. It's a commitment, it's an investment, and it's a responsibility. But if you do it right, it's also one of the most rewarding things you can do. So, for all you would-be gardeners out there, I hope you've learned something today. I hope you're feeling ready to go out there and start planting, but most importantly, I hope you're ready to do it wisely. Now go forth and plant wisely, fellas. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, a wise gardener never stops learning.